Hey guys, welcome to PatternLab.London. I'm Ralph, and in this week's episode, Season 1, Episode 8, we're going to actually start adding some adjustments to Francesca's first toile, or the pattern of Francesca's robe. So if you're not familiar with what we've been doing recently, essentially last week's episode was all about creating that initial pattern, using Francesca's unique measurements, putting them into the PatternLab system to automatically generate blocks that fit her perfectly, and then from that we took those blocks, put them into Adobe Illustrator, and then we started to create the robe based on the design work that we've done in past episodes. So now at a stage where we've done the first fitting, it looks good, but it needs a bit more work, okay? So now we've basically taken those adjustments. So in this episode, it's a bit confusing, we are taking those adjustments from the last episode and we're actually working into the pattern and creating a brand new pattern using those adjustments. And I'm going to give you an overview of what we've actually done to the pattern and how the two have changed from last episodes to this episode. And also, I will show you that we'll also do a fitting with Francesca once more to see how the pattern works, see if those adjustments have actually taken effect, and the garment's looking great. Hopefully we can start making soon. And also, at the very, very end, what I'll do is, as a different video, I'm going to show you in detail how we actually pattern cut or make those adjustments to the existing pattern in Adobe Illustrator, which will be quite a long tutorial. So that won't be part of this video, but it will be on the same blog page or post as this video. A bit confusing. If you're on YouTube, then it'll just be next in this series, or next video in series 1 from this one. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to get on with it. But yeah, should be quite an interesting. Should be interesting to see what the fit looks like the second time around.
Okay, so let's take a look at our pattern. So as you can see, this is our existing pattern that we created with the first toile. Obviously, same issues. We had the really, really long sleeve length. The cuff was slightly too small. Also, the crossover was a little bit too small as well, coming just literally at the center front. The back was fine, but possibly this was a little bit too high. We want to lower this. And obviously, the dress or the skirt was a little bit kind of restrictive. So we want to expand this and open this up. And also this waistband depth was quite large. It felt a little bit out of proportion on Francesca, so we made it a little bit smaller. And then this is the overview of the brand new pattern. So as you can see, this skirt has been expanded dramatically. Okay, I'm going to show you what we've actually done. So let me just grab the bodice, the back and front bodice. So as I said, the bottom one is the existing one, and the top one is the new one. So let's just move these away. Oops, sorry. I'm just going to ungroup that. Let's move this away. Let's put it over here. Put this over here. Oops. And put this over here. Sorry. Ungroup. Place that over there. Okay. So the front, as you can see, is far larger, okay, across here. So let's just check that. Okay. So if you have a look, you can see that we're actually expanding this. We're overlapping the center front by about 4 centimeters. Also, we had a little bit more ease allowance in the last block. We're actually restricting it a tiny bit more. Okay, so if I move that down, you can see that the dart there on our original is slightly smaller, and the on the new pattern it's slightly larger. Okay, so we have a little bit more space. Or sorry, we're removing a little bit more around the bust just to make it a little bit neater and tighter. With the back, as you can see, we haven't really changed much at all, but we have actually lowered that that chevron detail on the back. Okay, so this is the existing one. This is now the new one. That's great. The obviously the facings haven't changed, apart from obviously to map the shape of that this front crossover. Okay, so let's look at the sleeve. So let's move this away. This is our existing one. Let's move that down there. So let's grab our sleeve. Now as you can see, our existing sleeve is actually quite long, and we have this area here, which basically separates the top from the bottom. In the new one, let me just highlight these. Oh, Siri. Naughty. Sorry, excuse me, that was just my phone reacting to my voice. I don't want to pause the tutorial, because it'll just be a pain. Okay, so anyway, let's carry on. So as you can see here, let me select all of this. So as you can see, we have essentially removed those middle panels here, and we've just basically raised the bottom until it interacts with the top. And we've actually raised it, I think it's about 16 centimeters, I'll have to check. But essentially we've taken 16 centimeters out of the middle of that pattern to give this much shorter version. Also, we haven't actually changed this lower sleeve at all, not very much anyway. Well, actually, by none at all. So it'll still create the same shape. We've just simply shortened the sleeve overall. Also, because we're shortening the sleeve, we have to obviously expand the width of our, let's say, the cuff panel, which is this one. So obviously it's going to be falling further up the arm, so the arm is thicker further up rather than the wrist, so it's going to be expanded to about 24 centimetres to give her enough room for that to actually do up nicely around 3/4 length down her arm. Otherwise, before, I think it was about 17 centimetres, which was slightly larger than her wrist measurement. So that's changed also. Okay, but the biggest adjustment that we've actually made to this skirt, to this, let's say this robe block, is the skirt, okay, as you can see here. So let's just put this side by side so you can have a look. So we're using exactly the same concept here when it comes to the opening and closing. You see how these are, this front panel here and this front panel here are exactly the same. The only difference is we're actually expanding the back of this dress, so it's quite flat and straight on the front, and then it expands at the side seam and it sweeps into this lovely big like train at the back, which is looking fantastic actually, and we'll see that in the actual fitting. So that went quite well. As I said, the crossover is exactly the same, but also we have reduced the size of our little, what would you call it, like upper yoke or upper skirt yoke. Okay, we've made it far smaller. So this is about 4 centimetres, and this is about 10 centimetres now, as opposed to this is probably about 10, and this is probably about 20 or something. So huge difference here. But essentially, that is our pattern, the new pattern finished off. And if you want to learn or get an overview, a more detailed overview of how we actually made adjustments to the existing blocks and also redrafted this whole new skirt pattern, then it's going to be at the bottom of this blog post as a separate video. And it will be named maybe, Francesca's Robe Adjustments, for example. If you're on YouTube, then you should be able to find it in our Season 1 playlist, hopefully just after this one. So yeah, have a look out for that one. Otherwise, let's move on to the fitting. Let's actually see what this looks like on Francesca when it's finished, which will be really exciting. Yeah, okay.
Hey guys, okay, so it's pretty early here in the morning for us, a bit of an early start, so we're a little bit knackered, we probably look a little bit knackered. Okay, so basically this is the second toile after the adjustments that we made, and it's looking far nicer. So we've we've obviously reduced that sleeve cuff, and that's riding up a little bit because I've done it a little bit too tight, but there we go, let's loosen it off, relax, arm down your side. So the sleeves are far shorter now, which is looking lovely. I mean, there's quite a lot of volume here, which is quite different to the sketch, but I'm not too worried about that. When we get the satin, it should sink a bit more, a little bit nicer. We've also now overlapped this by about 4 centimetres on either side, so obviously a little bit more covered up. It's looking a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. We've still got that side split just there, so it's slightly further down to the leg, looking lovely. And we now have this beautiful, let's say, scalloped hem or tulip hem, and we have loads more material in the back. Do you want a little spin and turn? So we have loads more material in the back. It's looking far nicer, a bit more easier to move in. It's looking lovely. So I'm actually relatively quite happy with this. I think we can move on to the next stage. We're talking about pockets, weren't we?
Yeah.
We need some pockets. I'm like, oh god, do we have to add pockets? But no, because it's not long now until we have to get this actually made. But yes, we're going to add some pockets as well. And we'll probably put that on the finished pattern and not worry about the toile too much. But apart from that, yeah, it's looking really nice. Oh, one other thing, obviously we reduced the size of this little waistband here just to bring everything into proportion. Before it was way too large. So that just sort of like highlights the waist a little bit, keeps it quite pretty. All of the gatherings now on the side, which is looking nice. But yeah, what we'll do is we'll have like a little catwalk. Okay, I put the seam on the outside here by accident, although essentially this is not meant to have a seam. But yeah, it's looking very, very cute. So let's have a little catwalk. I'll get out of the way. Hang on. Fantastic. Okay, so what we'll do next is we'll obviously find out how long this dress is, how much material we need. We'll start to get it printed up with our textile printers, and then we should have it ready for the holiday, which is coming up very soon. High fives? Okay, first of all, do you like it?
I love it. It's
okay.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
It feels...
It's more of a an evening robe than a morning robe, but
it's perfect.
yeah,
I think it'd be perfect for holiday, and it feels a lot more fitted, but also
it's
a
comfortable.
lot freer around here.
I mean, I know you've got quite a dramatic split here. We can probably take it down further, but ideally it's bikini, you know, like it's just something you chuck on while going out for a meal or something.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, in our beautiful lily print, it should be absolutely stunning, and in that satin as well. So,
I'm so
yeah,
excited.
I know, me too. I can't wait to see what it looks like. Okay, high fives. Cool. All right, thanks. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the second fitting of Francesca's robe. I think it's looking pretty nice. It's pretty basic, but yeah, we're certainly getting there. So I think the next step now, as I mentioned before, is to measure up the material, get it printed with that beautiful lily print on a really gorgeous soft fluid satin, and then start to construct this in time for the holiday. So we can do a little lifestyle shoot while we're out there, and there's going to be more to follow about that in some more blog posts coming this week. One more thing is that I am not particularly great. I'm great when it comes to making toiles. Sorry, you know, out of Calico, that's fine when it comes to construction, but my sewing skills are a bit lacking. So we're going to ask a very good samplist friend of mine to actually construct the finished product for us. So it'll be absolutely stunning, and we'll get it boxed up and ready for the holiday. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Also, you can subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to follow any of our current projects or future projects, or obviously have a look at PatternLab. Yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook, like us on Instagram. We have Twitter as well, Pinterest, Reddit, pretty much all the social media platforms. Yeah, see you next time.